Everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm coming to you all with a little bit of breaking news out of the Supreme Court. There were two cases that were, or two opinions rather, that were given by the court today. For the purpose of this video, I am going to focus on the California v. Texas, in which Texas, the petitioners, we're looking to uh, address an issue regarding the Affordable Care Act. And it appears that the Affordable Care Act has survived yet another Supreme Court challenge. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But I want to first shift a little bit to the opinion polls regarding the Affordable Care Act, because I think this really sets the foundation and may have set the foundation for the way the justices had ruled in this particular case. So many of you all know that the Affordable Care Act has been, sort of a topic of discussion since 2010 when it was passed by both Congress, the Senate, as well as the House of Representatives, and then signed into law by President Barack Obama. The Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, initially started off with very sort of unfavorable opinions from the public. At one point, that reached, I want to say maybe 50 to 60% of Americans who were not in favor of the ACA. I will note that the ACA was unfavorable on political lines, so more Republicans at the time had, opinions or negative opinions or oppositions to the ACA. That has since changed over the past couple of years. Right now, and I recognize that what I'm showing you here, is encompassing up until March of 2020. That over 55%, maybe even getting closer to 60%, have a favorable view towards the the Affordable Care Act, excuse me. And then, of course, unfavorability, those numbers are continuing to decline as the Affordable Care Act seems to be, making a lot of positive impacts on the lives of many Americans. I'll share some more numbers towards the end, but I also want to make sure that I touch base on the figures piece in terms of whether or not folks want the Supreme Court to overturn either portions of the Affordable Care Act or the entire act itself. It's safe to say, looking here at this first section here, that many individuals do not want the Supreme Court to overturn, protections for people with pre-existing condition. That is something that, many Americans are, very appreciative of. In terms of political breakdowns, it just appears that both Democrats, independents, and Republicans, majority of those individuals are in favor of not having the Supreme Court overturn those portions of the ACA. When it comes down, when we come over to the Affordable Care Act as a whole, this one is more politicized depending on your political party, but generally speaking, 58% of Americans do not want the Supreme Court to overturn any of the Affordable Care Act as a whole. In terms of political breakdowns, both the Democrats as well as independents do not want the Supreme Court to overturn it, versus 76% of Republicans who are in favor of overturning the Affordable Care Act. And then there's some additional pieces here in terms of, provisions within the ACA and what is important. But I think it's important to note that, generally speaking, Americans are now sort of on board with the Affordable Care Act. There was a lot of questions, and I think a basis for the Supreme Court case itself really centered around whether or not penalties should be incurred. That was then reversed by Congress a couple of years ago. And so I'm not going to go too much into the entire opinion. I am going to try to, break it down for folks, just so that, you have a better idea of, the opinion coming out of the court. I will link this Supreme Court opinion in the description below. I will note here that Justice Breyer delivered the opinion on behalf of the court. So, to give you the breakdown, 7 justices provided an opinion and 2 dissented. The individuals who authored the opinion, in addition to Justice Stephen Breyer, included Chief Justice John Roberts. You also had Justice Clarence Thomas, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Justice Elena Kagan, Justice Brent Kavanaugh, and Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who wrote an opinion. Stephen Breyer wrote the opinion for those 7 affirmative votes, and then Stephen Alito and Neil Gorsuch were the 2 dissenting justices. So, shifting over to the Associated Press, we did get some information from President Joe Biden, but before I provide a quote from him, I do want to read the opinion from the justices, Stephen Breyer, and he threw out the challenge to the law on the grounds that Texas and other objecting GOP states were not required to pay anything under the mandate, which means that they had no standings in this case. And according to the opinion, additionally, to have standing, a plaintiff must allege personal injury fairly traceable to the defendant's allegedly unlawful conduct and likely to redress by the request relief. So no plaintiff has shown any injury or fairly traceable to the allegedly unlawful conduct challenge here. And so, generally speaking, what that essentially means is there was no standing here. The controversial section of the Affordable Care Act required that humans either pay for health insurance or they risk being asked to pay a penalty via the federal government. And then, of course, back in 2012, the court upheld, because this was challenged a couple of times in the past as well, the courts had upheld in a 5-4 decision with Chief Justice Roberts casting the tie vote on the grounds that the penalty fell within the taxing responsibilities of Congress. According to the Associated Press, President Joe Biden did provide a comment. I'm just going to read here, quoting that the Affordable Care Act remains the law of the land, saluting the ruling and calling for building on health care law that was enacted when he was vice president. And so right now, as it stands right now, I also wanted to note too that back in 2017, it was also challenged again, and that is when Congress had got rid of the penalty, as I mentioned before. And then I want to note that currently over 30 million Americans now have health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, which is huge. Some other provisions that are still in place include the provision where, young adults who are the age of 26 can remain on their parents' health insurance. Co-pays are not permitted for preventative care. And then, of course, more lifetime benefits is being extended as well. The New York Times also surmises those as well, highlighting, some of the Supreme Court challenges both in 2012 as well as 2015. And so, of course, since then, over the years, the law has gained popularity and has been woven, as quoted here, into the fabric of our healthcare system. So overturning the the Affordable Care Act, is definitely, it's hard to believe, or at least from my vantage point, that, the justices were not aware of the popularity of the Affordable Care Act. And so undoing such a law that has now been woven into the American health system, that could have caused a huge backlash on, the parties who were against the Affordable Care Act. And so, it's very interesting, I think, and I'm not going to get too much into this, but do think that, the way that the court is assessing some of these very important questions, they are taking into consideration some of those. One, the legal doctrine itself, right? The Constitution, and using that as a basis for, their arguments, but also they are very much aware of the popularity of some of these cases and some of these hot button issues, and are likely to rule, on recognizing the importance that it has on social society. So that is it. I'm not going to go too much into the dissenting. I haven't been able to, fully read the entire document out of the Supreme Court. I highly do recommend that you do so. But generally speaking, the Affordable Care Act lives another day. Do I anticipate some more challenges in the future? Maybe. But, I think this signals right now that the Affordable Care Act is here to stay, and that many Americans love the provisions that are associated with the ACA. All right, this concludes the video for today. As always, if you made it to the end, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.